Hello, my name is Aidan Macaulay. I am the author of Splatterpunk, a short horror story collection. The book was released in April 2024, and the sequel came out this April in 2026. The premise of these books is that each story is set in the same fictional haunted town, which is called Echo Valley. Echo Valley is a really strange and interesting location, like a cross between Sin City and Silent Hill. Having the same recurring setting for each story allows for certain characters or monsters to return from one book to the next, which is part of why Splatterpunk Part 2 is a sequel. And I am also writing the third book, which concludes certain characters and storylines that were set up in the first one. I started putting together this idea for a trilogy shortly after the first book came out. I had this idea of writing 3 short story collections with a novella sprinkled throughout. In terms of writing the sequels, I was also inspired by Back to the Future, where they were written back to back, basically. It didn't totally work out that way. At first, I wrote Part 2 and started work on Part 3 right away. This would have been in the last quarter of 2024. But then I paused work on Splatterpunk Part 3 in order to focus on the editing work for Part 2 throughout most of 2025. With Part 2 now complete, I've resumed the work on writing Part 3. But the process is taking longer, not just because the stories are getting more complex, but I'm trying to be very selective about which ideas make the final cut. When it came to the second book, I wrote more material than we ultimately needed, and I intend to do the same thing with the third book. Being a horror story collection, some of these stories include concepts like vampires, werewolves, serial killers, possessions, hauntings, zombies, lots of zombies, and other cursed objects and locations. Oh, and giant spiders. Some of the authors who inspire me include Stephen King, Clive Barker, Bentley Little, Jack Ketchum, Anne Rice, Elmore Leonard, and Joe Lansdale. I don't know for sure how soon the third book will be released. If I had to guess, I'd say in the next 2 years. But I'm also busy with other projects. There's a couple of screenplays that I'm working on, as well as other books. If you're interested in the Splatterpunk books, they are available on Amazon, and that's probably the easiest way for most people to get a hold of them. They're also available at 2 bookstores in Maple Ridge, BC, The Bookcase and Bean Around Books. For the cover art of the second book, I worked with a fellow named Denva, who did an incredible job. I've included a link to their work, and I definitely recommend reaching out to them if you're looking for some cool artwork to be made. So yeah, I wanted to make this video where I talk about these books that I've been working on. If you're interested in horror, in comedy, or in my writing in general, please check out Splatterpunk and Splatterpunk Part 2. I think these books are some of my strongest writing work yet. I'm very proud to have these stories available for people to check out whenever they want. And that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Goodbye.